You're tired. But not because you've done too much physical work. You're tired because you've seen too much, heard too much, and processed too much. There's a specific kind of exhaustion sleep can't fix. It's the deep fatigue of a mind that's forgotten how to close its own doors. Listen closely. The world's designed to steal your attention. Every notification, every headline, every sudden noise. It's a demand for a piece of your spirit. But here's the truth that changes everything in the next 10 minutes. Ignoring isn't a weakness. It's not passivity. It's an art form. It's the highest spiritual defense you have. If you can't master the art of ignoring, you'll never own your mind. Today, we walk the path of the Taoist masters to reclaim the energy you've lost to the noise. You'll learn how to become transparent to the chaos, so it passes right through you without taking a single drop of your peace. To protect yourself, you have to redefine what's attacking you. You usually use the word noise loosely. You think of traffic horns, construction work, or a TV left on too loud. But in the Taoist view, noise is dangerous. It's not just sound waves vibrating in the air. Noise is information. It's some stranger's unsolicited opinion on the internet. It's the constant, low-level anxiety of the news cycle telling you to be afraid. It's the weight of other people's expectations. Think of your attention like cash. Taoists speak of qi. This is your vital life force, the fuel in your tank. Every time you pay attention to something, you're literally paying with your qi. You spend your life force. Get angry at a comment? You pay. Worry about a political event halfway across the world? You pay. Scroll through images of other people's lives and feel a spike of envy? You pay. This is qi leaking. Seat. Most people walk around with a spiritual fuel tank punctured by 1,000 tiny holes. You wonder why you have no drive to build your dreams? Why you're irritable with your family? It's because you've leaked all your energy onto things that don't matter. You've spent your fortune on dust. This is where Wu Wei comes in. People usually translate it as non-action or effortless action, basically how you move through the world. But apply that to your attention. Wu Wei of the mind isn't about doing nothing. It's action through not listening. It's action through not engaging. It's the ability to see the chaos, acknowledge it's there, and refuse to let it stick. It's the difference between a sponge and a mirror. A sponge absorbs everything it touches. It gets heavy, dirty, weighed down. A mirror reflects everything perfectly: fire, ugliness, beauty. But when the object moves away, the mirror stays empty. It doesn't hold the image. You need to be the mirror. The modern epidemic of sensory overload isn't an accident. It's an extraction economy. Your outrage is profitable. Your fear is profitable. Your confusion is profitable. The only way to bankrupt this system and get rich in your own spirit is to stop participating in the transaction. When you apply Wu Wei to your attention, you stop fighting the noise. Fighting is exhausting. Trying to silence the world is like trying to flatten ocean waves with an iron. Impossible. You'll drown trying. Instead, stop surfing every wave. Sit on the shore. Let the water be water. Let the noise be noise. Keep your qi inside your chest, warming your own heart, ready for the things you actually love. That's real power. There's a story from Zhuangzi that perfectly nails the madness of our struggle with distraction. There was a man terrified of his own shadow, and he hated the sound of his own footsteps. He felt followed, haunted. Every time he moved, the shadow was there, mimicking him. Every time he walked, the thud, thud, thud broke the silence he craved. He figured the only way to escape was to run. So, he ran. He ran faster and faster. But the faster he ran, the more footsteps he created, louder, more frantic. The faster he ran, the faster his shadow kept up, never leaving his side. He thought he just wasn't running fast enough. He pushed his body to the limit, sprinted across fields, over mountains, desperate to outrun the noise and the darkness attached to him. Eventually, his heart burst. He dropped dead. The sad part? The solution was right there. If he'd just stepped into the shade of a tree, his shadow would have vanished. If he'd just sat down and stayed still, his footsteps would have gone silent. This is exactly how you treat the noise of the modern world. You try to fight noise with more noise. You feel anxious, so you scroll your phone to distract yourself, creating more anxiety. You feel lonely, so you consume content that isolates you. You're bothered by the state of the world, so you argue, debate, post, scream into the void. You're running from your shadow, and it's killing you. Warning: don't miss this connection. The more you engage with what disturbs you, the more reality you give it. By fighting the distraction, you bind yourself to it. The man died because he thought action was the only way. He didn't understand the power of stopping. This is the strategy of the empty boat. Picture yourself rowing a small boat across a misty lake. Suddenly, another boat crashes into yours. Thud. You stumble. Spill your tea. Anger flares up instantly. You stand up to scream at the careless fool who hit you. But then, you look into the other boat, and you see it's empty. It just drifted loose from the dock. In a split second, your anger evaporates. There's no one to yell at. It was just an event. Just a drifting piece of wood. The noise of the world, the rude comment, the traffic jam, the sudden crisis. It's an empty boat. It's not personal. It's just drifting phenomena. When you see the world as full of enemies and agents trying to hurt you, you're constantly bracing for impact. You're rigid. But see these things as empty boats, mere movements of nature, and you become transparent to provocation. Someone insults you? It's just wind blowing through a hollow tree. Bad news? Just clouds changing shape. You don't have to invite the boat into your harbor. Steer around it. Let it drift by. You aren't the victim of the noise. You're the sky the noise passes through. The sky isn't hurt by thunder. It's never scarred by lightning. It allows the storm, and when the storm's done, the sky is still there. Blue, vast, untouched. Be the sky, not the storm. Once you see the trap of reaction, you need a new habit. Treat selective ignorance not as being uninformed, but as high-level spiritual hygiene. Think about your body. You wash your hands because you touch dirt. You brush your teeth because you eat. But what do you do for your mind? You walk through a digital world filthy with aggression, vanity, and confusion, and you let it all stick. You go to bed with the mud of the world smeared across your soul. Selective ignorance is a shower for your mind. It's the deliberate choice to say, I don't need to know this. I don't need an opinion on this. This doesn't belong in my house. Taoists call this Wang, sitting in oblivion. It sounds scary to the Western ego. You want to be remembered? You want to be important. But sitting in oblivion is the most restful state a human can experience. It means sitting and forgetting the artificial definitions of who you are. Forgetting the need to be right. Forgetting the need to be updated. It's a deep, conscious unplugging from the matrix of validation. When you practice Wang, you aren't sleeping. You're vividly awake, but unattached. You're a deep ocean diver, disconnecting the weights holding him to the bottom, finally floating free. Here's how to do it. Phone vibrating, world screaming. Use the closed door visualization. Your senses are windows, eyes, ears, mouth. These are openings where energy leaves and dust enters. When you feel overwhelmed, physically close your eyes. Picture yourself inside a room. Simple, beautiful, your inner sanctuary. Visualize walking to the windows and gently closing the shutters. Walk to the main door, close it, and slide the heavy wooden bolt into place. Realize that outside that door, the carnival's still going. Markets shouting, politicians arguing, wars fighting, trends changing. But inside, the air is still. The dust settles. You're safe. You're under no obligation to open the door just because someone knocks. Accept this. The world will knock. It'll pound on the door. It'll try to slide urgent notes under the crack. But you're the master of the house. You decide when the door opens. Practice this, and you train your brain to recognize a boundary. You reclaim your nervous system. You aren't a public square where anyone can walk through with muddy boots. You're a private garden. And a garden, if it's going to grow anything, needs a fence. The biggest barrier to this practice? Fear. You're afraid of being rude. You're conditioned to believe a good person is always available, always responsive, always plugged in. You think if you ignore a message or step back, you're failing. Look at the uncarved block. Pew. The uncarved block is pure potential. It's wood that hasn't been cut into a tool or a decoration yet. Honest. Whole. The carved world is the world of labels and games. It wants to carve you into something useful for itself. It wants to carve you into a loyal employee, a responsive friend, or a concerned citizen. Try to meet every expectation, and you let the world whittle you down until there's nothing left of your nature. You become a pile of wood shavings. Ignoring social expectations without being rude just requires a shift in perspective. Realize that a distracted, exhausted version of you is useless. When you're burnt out, your yes has no power because there's no energy behind it. By reclaiming your authority to ignore, you're preserving your ability to love. Protect your energy, and you can be fully present when you finally do engage. Stop giving people scraps of attention. Give them the whole meal. Simply say, "I'm in a deep focus period," or "I'm stepping back for a bit." You don't need to apologize for owning your mind. Reclaiming your mind is the ultimate rebellion. In a society that profits from distraction, focus is an act of war. Refuse to click? You're rebelling. Refuse to take the bait? You're rebelling. Choose to look at a tree instead of a screen? You're breaking the chains. You are the emperor of your internal kingdom. For too long, you've left the gates open. Thieves have walked in, sat on your throne, eaten your food, and given orders to your soldiers. Kick them out. Reclaim the throne. This doesn't mean becoming a hermit. It means becoming a sovereign. A sovereign listens to advisors, but makes the final call. Listen to the world, but don't obey it. See the noise, but don't become it. Alan Watts, the bridge between Eastern wisdom and Western minds, talked about the wisdom of insecurity. He described the mind as a muddy pool. If you want the water clear, what do? Jump in and try to push the mud down? You just stir it up. The more you interfere, the cloudier it gets. The only way to clear the water is to leave it alone. Stand on the bank. Watch. Let gravity do the work. This is the stance of the modern witness. To ignore the noise is to trust the universe to handle itself for a while. The world went on before you were born. It'll go on after you leave. You don't need to hold it up with your anxiety. Imagine a mind that can't be disturbed. Imagine walking through a crowded city, sirens and ads everywhere, but you carry a portable silence inside. Imagine hearing an insult and feeling only compassion for the person suffering enough to say it. Imagine losing the fear of missing out because you realize you're already completely here. This is the Taoist art. It's not about running to a cave. It's about building a cave inside your heart. It's walking through fire and not burning, because you aren't made of flammable material anymore. You're made of space. You're made of awareness. Try this experiment. For the next 24 hours, treat every intrusion as an optional invitation. Look at every notification and ask, does this deserve my life force? If the answer is no, let it float by like a leaf on a stream. Watch the leaf, but don't become the leaf. If this journey into silence helped clear the water of your mind, join us at Taoist Diary. Subscribe to keep walking this path of simplicity. Remember, the noise will always be there. You just don't have to listen.